Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Hangout. Little life update. I did go out over Easter, got on the proj, didn't send, didn't high point, didn't make it through the crux. Maybe the worst session that I've had on the route. And that's day 7. And up until day 6, everything was progress. So day 7's a bit of a weird anomaly, but I'm trying to decompress or unpack that as to why. Something to think about. They can't all go my way. We're in the process. That's what I love. That's what we learnt in last episode with Mariah. It's really learning to enjoy the process. But in this week's episode, we have another great one for you. Is my friend Kate Proctor. Kate is an outdoor adventurous, but also an outdoor photographer. She puts up some incredible photos of some of the coolest places across Australia, both in climbing, in ultra running, and just whatever tickles her fancy, working with brands. She's got a very cool creative eye, and you can tell from this conversation that she has this very just cool creative thing inside her that just wants to express, and she's very thoughtful about it all and very calculated, and I love her approach to bringing the outdoors into everyone's screens and showing them this is what's out there. I think there's so much power in that sort of media, and I think Kate does one of the best jobs at it. I think she's really good at what she does, and we get into the nitty-gritty in this conversation of her process and where it all came from. If you're enjoying the show, please take some time to show some love. You might be able to hear my dog's squeaky toy, but I'm not going to edit that out because we're rolling. But show some love to the show and to the guests and to everything that's around it. Australian climbing is offering so much right now, and these guests that come on would really appreciate the support, as would I. So if you find the time, it doesn't take too long, but give us a like, follow, all of that jazz that all these creators like to ramble on about. But it does help, so keep the rambling. Rate the show. Do whatever. Share it. Tell a friend. Buy some merch. We haven't got any, but I don't know. This shirt's right here. Maybe there's more coming. To the episode, though. I really enjoyed this chat. Kate and I have caught up a couple of times after this, and we've got some more projects coming in the future. It's a very exciting time for me. It's a very exciting time for the Hangout. And I hope you all are excited to enjoy episode 12 of the Hangout with Kate Proctor.
Basically, rock climbing became a way of life.
So I'm not going to do I'm here today.
Great.
I don't need to do that. So we can just jump straight on in.
Oh my god. You don't have any notes or anything. You just
yeah, I got my tablet here.
Oh,
but generally,
it's in secret.
It is in secret.
Yeah.
But I don't really like to okay, so next, I've got points which hopefully comes up naturally in conversation.
Cool.
Hopefully.
This is so funny.
Nice. Well.
Cool.
Is that? I might go a bit closer.
Okay, great. I can sit like this too.
Yeah, just make sure you're comfy as well.
I'm chilling.
That's the thing.
Yeah, this is the best beanbag in the world.
Looks nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for having me at your home, Kate.
Thanks for having me on the podcast.
Yeah, it's super exciting. You're now, well, I guess not now, I'm one of my most elusive guests, where I think we spoke on the phone a fair few months ago and had a little chat and hopefully try to get something in the works there. And I think at the same time, you were just absolutely taking off with your work and your passion and what you're doing. So I completely understand not coming on and having time to talk about the things that you're doing because you're already doing them. But I appreciate you coming here me coming here and getting this all started. I think a nice place to start is your work. That's how I first found out about you. I didn't know what you looked like for so long, which was such an interesting concept for me as well. Like following your Instagram page, Earthy Media, for a few years now. Like I don't know, I've been climbing for 6 years, and I reckon it's been in my sphere for 4 or 5, something like that. So it's been
cool.
it's awesome to sit down and chat with you about it. But I guess you start this conversation. Let's start it around Earthy. I think it's a important part for Australian climbing, what you're doing, which is, I guess, a part of a reason why I'm doing what I'm doing now as well, is to help bring not just climbing, but the outdoor world into people's eyes and into people's ears. And I think you do that in a beautiful way, and it's only gotten bigger and better for yourself. So with Earthy Media, where did that start? What's the genesis and the first steps of Earthy?
Well, I guess it kind of began as a very young person. My grandparents always were taking photos of things and quite creative, and that influenced me a lot. And my 2 brothers and I, when we turned 10, our gift was a little point and shoot camera. So that was the most exciting thing about turning 10. I was like, I can't wait until I turn 10, because my older brother got a camera when he turned 10. So
it was like a thing. Like everyone got a camera at 10.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah. So that was kind of like a double digits, you get a camera.
Mm-hmm.
And we were also very lucky to travel around Australia as young kids growing up, and those camera became an integral part of the trip as well. So, run around taking photos of, I don't know, windows with fog on them, and like macro photos of petals and water droplets and all those little things, and clouds and stuff like that. And it kind of all started in that space. But, when you're 10 years old, you're not thinking about anything really, like about your future in that way. So it was just me with my camera running around taking photos and being like, whoa, how do I press a button, and how come it comes up on the screen and then I can print it out? Like, it's mind-blowing. I still don't know how it works. It's mind-blowing. That's kind of where it all started. And then I kind of always had a camera as part of my sphere. I kind of always had a camera part of my sphere growing up. Whether it was, I think it came in and out throughout me growing up, but through all the little adventures that I had, I was always taking little photos of things. And when I started coming out of high school, I did things like I started creating this little book of animals and plants that I'd found, and I would write their botanical name and like their scientific name and all this information about it. And that was like a way that I displayed my photos. And like, so it's kind of been in so many different spaces that until now I haven't really reflected back and been like, I guess that was part of my journey. I'm like learning how to capture things.
Do you still have those books and everything like that to look back on?
Yeah, so the only reason I remember that is the other day I was looking through, I'm packing up my room at the moment because I'm going to sublet it over the summer. And I found this sketchbook and I was like, I can use that over the summer. And I looked through it and I was like, it's my book of like little animals and plants and things, which is really cool because I think I stepped away from, seeing nature in that way and really like delving into the scientific side of the environment. And I feel like I've come back to that now. So it feels very relevant that I happen to find it now too, which is really cool. And then there's photo albums from when we traveled to Australia and things like that still exist. And yeah, it's cool to think about actually, because I haven't really spent much time thinking about it, and that question is actually like sending me down memory lane at the moment.
Yeah,
So cool.
It's always super nice to reflect because like the point of my reference of knowing you and your journey, it looks like it's just been like exponential growth. And I noticed this yesterday when I was at the crag with you, and you feel like you are humble or quite modest about your work as well, and maybe don't even like fully talking about like how well you're doing with it all. So I apologize, and I'm going to keep on doing it because I think you're doing amazing.
Oh, thank you.
But yeah, like now with that reflection point, looking back at all that scrap work and seeing the work that you're doing now, like it must be so fulfilling to see the trajectory that you've been on and like all the things that have played its part to kind of lead you here and lead you where you're living and lead you what you're shooting. Like all of these things have come incongruent with each other.
Yeah, well, I mean, the location that I am now has really fed into where I am now, I think, with photography. Like it was kind of this crazy happening of events that led me to living here. And I had my camera with me and I came up here because I had a friend who climbed, and I'd been climbing once in Canada when I was there, maybe the year before. And I was like, wow, as if people climb. Like, that's bonkers. That's crazy. And my friend was like, well, work's cancelled next week, because this was kind of the start of COVID. And he was like, do you want to go to Durit, Arapiles, and just go climbing for a week? And I was like, yes. So we did that. And then one thing led to another, and work was cancelled, and I managed to find work here. And through having an injury and not being able to climb, I then was like, well, I guess I'll take photos of my friends climbing with like no intention of things leading, you know, where they are. But maybe a little nugget of my brain was like, it would be pretty cool if like maybe I could get paid for this one day. But
passion
like,
starting to speak.
you know.
Yeah, for sure.
But that was pretty cool.
It's super cool. Like maybe speak to that a little bit as well, of like how much has like your lens of photography changed? Like now, I guess it is work for you. It is a money making thing for you. And obviously you have passion in it. But back when it was just taking photos of friends and taking photos of leaves and bugs and animals, has your relationship changed with photography through the years of like why and what it is that you're doing?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's changed how I see things. Like I think through seeing other people's work too as well, like seeing how other people see things as well and how they capture things, and noticing details in a way that I never would have before. Even when it comes to taking trail running photos, and I'm a huge fan of using a wide angle and taking a photo from below when someone's like leaning over and really just experiencing so many feelings, and they have no filter because they're so exhausted and they're so in the moment, and capturing that. And those are the moments that happen so quickly that unless you do take a photo or you have a video of it, you're not going to see them. Or it's very rare that you see those little like micro emotions. And I think that's something that's really changed over time, is like the ways of seeing things has just evolved, and trying to capture those moments that people don't necessarily see all the time has kind of become something that I've loved. And I guess that maybe links into a little bit of my obsession younger me had when I was taking photos of macro things. You know, those little details that like if you were just to go for a walk, unless you stop and look at something real close, you just see it, right? You don't really see it. So I think that's kind of evolved over time.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely something like, it's, I think I have maybe this conversation a bit too much on the podcast, but it always comes up, which is so nice to hear in the climbing outdoor space, is like the cliche of stop and smell the roses. Is just like what you're doing with photography is like quite literally catching the moment, is like quite literally catching presence, you know, and that's so nice to think about. Like if you, in your smaller macro shots of like a ladybug, and on that ladybug you can see like a little droplet of water, and in that water you can see reflection. You're like, there's worlds within worlds, and it's just something you wouldn't notice completely. Yeah, and it's so cool to bring that out to people. What does like the trail running world, are they like, I guess, I don't even know what that question is there. Yeah, obviously they're conscious of you taking the photos, but are they like conscious of how they feel in the moment? Like obviously they're buggered, but do they see like maybe they feel like tired and buggered, and then you capture that moment and they got this like little like satisfaction smile on their face or something like that? Like those are these little things that you're capturing?
Well, I think like it can be quite, I mean, it's hard to say because I can only speak from chats that I've had in my perspective. I know if someone took a photo of me in some of the photos that I've taken of other people that I love, I'd be like, I don't want to see that. Like, take that down. But I've lost my train of thought.
It happens.
And I've forgotten what the question was.
That's why I don't really think I asked one properly.
Okay, I'm lost.
Yeah, it's fine. It was more so about like the trail running and capturing their emotions, and if they're like aware of what it is, like maybe they're more thinking that they're feeling away, but then your photo is portraying a different thing for them. I just think that's kind of like a cool almost juxtaposition. If they're feeling like almost angry and tired about like, I'm not doing that race again, and then you capture in the photo and they've got this like little slight smile on their face. Yeah, that's not really a question, you know.
Capturing like micro emotions and the little details. Even just from one thing that I love is like, I don't know, I love capturing, and people have probably seen this in my work before, water that's being poured on people's heads, like during trail running events or like anything that involves like a shock to the system. And often water offers that shock. And like when you're in that kind of shock, your face is just like, you lose all control. You're just like, wow, I'm so like, it's so in the moment, right?
Totally, yeah.
So being able to capture that and seeing that, I think is like, I love it. I think it's really cool. And hopefully they like seeing that part of themselves too. Because you don't often see, I mean, you never really see yourself in those little small moments of emotion, because I mean, we're not probably looking at ourselves in that time.
Yeah, you're not carrying a mirror on trail.
Totally. Yeah. So yeah, I wonder, I'd love to know what people think about like how they feel and the feelings that are invoked.
Probably somewhat provoked by the trail, isn't it? Yeah.
When they see those images of themselves and in like a space that they probably don't see very often. Yeah.
Do you see the similarities there in climate photography? Like it's almost, I guess, not as close up. So it's like quite more landscapey and body positional, I feel the photos are. So it's like, do you see the transition of maybe like the emotion in the body compared to like the emotion in the face and capturing that?
Yeah, definitely. I think like I am kind of on this journey of not knowing quite how I want to capture climbing, because I do really enjoy seeing, you know, the emotion being captured in like, people's faces. And you can do that in climbing, but I also think that I love seeing the landscape in climbing. Like it's beautiful to capture the route that they're on, the space that they're in, the body movement, like you were saying, because that's all so integral to climbing. So I'm kind of navigating how I want to capture that. And I'm really enjoying taking photos from the top down, because you can capture some of that movement and potentially you can see their face just like, you know, whatever that looks
grimace,
like.
that slight grimace or something. Yeah.
And I think one day I'd like to step into the video world a little bit, because I think that's also a really cool way to show emotion and feeling. But yeah, I think climbing's an interesting one, because there's so much going on. Like there's so much in the brain, there's so much in the body, and there's so much about like what you're climbing. Same with everything, but it's an interesting one.
Yeah, I've never really thought about like the actual capturing of the totality of climbing, because there is so much happening, you know, like you can just get even just like a silhouette, like where you see like a beautiful arete, just clear sky in the background and just the silhouette of movement itself. So you don't see emotion and stuff. You just see what, maybe not even movement, but there's so much that climbing can speak to, and probably why it's so photogenic as well. Like it's super photogenic to do. Maybe if you could only take a picture, like if you had the choice of taking a picture of like a Janja Garbarent on like back wall at Macedon or something like that, not the most, it's great. It's where I learned to climb. No shade at Macedon. But, it's not like the most like pleasing aesthetically 12-meter wall, seeing Yana on that. Or like someone top roping like Flatunga or something like that. Like would the choices of taking the picture there, what would you prefer?
I don't think I could. I think all climbing is wonderful. Like I don't think I could choose.
Yeah.
Because climbing within itself is a journey for each individual person. And that person's relationship with that environment, with the rock, with their brain, it's such a brain encapsulating thing. and yeah, I don't think I could choose. I'd love to do both.
Totally. Yeah, we'll put you on a quick flight.
Yeah. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
I'm already picturing it right now.
Totally. Yeah, someone top roping like Silence or something like that.
Yeah, so pretty.
So pretty. I would also like, if you could, I don't really know how it works. I'm assuming people listening, climbing, and probably have an interest in photography, being outdoors and everything like that. What does it look like to set an actual like scene up for your climbing photography? Like you're having obviously work and Jumar up ropes and create anchor. Can you speak to me a little bit of like just like even a specific shoot that you've been on that maybe that's just like been a lot of work, or just something a bit more generic of like how to actually set these shops up in terms of also lighting, everything like this?
Yeah, so probably one of the most recent shoots that didn't go as planned was taking photos of Lucy Sterling on Ethiopia. Pretty sure it was Ethiopia. I hope it was Ethiopia.
She did climb it, so
yeah. And she set up a hard line for me at the same anchors as Ethiopia topped out, and I jugged up the rope and then got to the top, and I had recently used my camera in a shoot where it rained, and I thought my camera had completely dried out, and I'd packed it away and everything was fine. And I went to start taking photos of her in Ethiopia. And I was like, oh, my camera's really blurry. Like, I can't really see anything through this. And I was like, shit, there's moisture in my camera. And like, Lucy's about to climb this climb. And I've gone, like, everything's all set up and I'm ready to shoot. And I won't be able to shoot clear photos because it's all fuzzy. Anyway, that was kind of like, damn, okay, I'm going to have to like figure out how to sort this out. We might just have to do it again. But I took photos anyway. And then we went back the next day, took photos again, and I made sure my camera was dried out that time. The next day where we came out, the sun was quite harsh, the time of day that we decided to go out that worked for both of us. And the shadows were super harsh and then the light was super harsh. So it was kind of challenging to capture that and make it look, and the lighting can make it look quite 3D, which can be really great. But yeah, I'm still kind of working on how to shoot in that sort of lighting and make it look how I like it. So we took photos there, did what we could, and then when it came to processing them, I was processing the ones from the day before that were super like foggy. And they actually came out really cool because they had this like soft, almost film vibe to them. And I had made most of them black and white, and I was like, wow, this is actually awesome. And I preferred them to the photos that I'd taken the day after with a camera that was like fully functioning and not full of moisture. So that was kind of like a great learning experience where I was able to work with something that was a total accident and mistake and still produce something that was actually super cool. I was pretty stressed at the time because I was like, oh, we're shooting Lucy on Ethiopia and the photos have to be great because North Face, we're going to use them as well. And I felt so silly when I got up there and I hadn't checked my camera beforehand and all these things. But yeah, like it worked out okay. Thank goodness. But I took so many photos because I was like, okay, hopefully one comes out good because I was like so stressed that also Lucy had to climb it again. And then also there's like a few poses that looked quite good. but because the lighting was changing and stuff, and it was kind of challenging, Lucy ended up climbing them a few times. So that's another thing that often it doesn't happen. Like, I'm just taking photos of people while they're climbing. I might get them to stop at a bolt and then keep going, depending on what we're shooting for. But this is probably one of the only shoots where, I mean, Lucy's climbing pretty challenging climb and just like doing laps on the same move just so I can get the shot. So yeah, she was amazing to work with.
Had she sent it at that point and we're just going back and doing like fill-in shots or?
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. So, it was, I felt so terrible, but she's also like amazing to work with. And
she's so sweet.
Was absolutely so happy to be flexible with that and was just like, yep, I'll keep climbing. That's okay. We'll get the shot. And yeah, it was crazy because I hadn't done much work with Lucy previously. First time I met her was summer spring 24 campaign for North Face where we shot out at Piddington in the Blue Mountains. And yeah, that was the first time we met. And we'd ended up catching up previously, but I hadn't done a lot of work with her and I was still like, oh, I don't want to.
Yeah. Well, was that your like first big campaign with North Face as well?
Yeah, it was like, I don't know, my brain exploded when I got the email.
Felt a bit of pressure. A bit of pressure coming through.
Yeah, totally. It all kind of kicked off a little bit working with Mel from Climbing Cuties, and they were heroed for World Climbing Day in 2024.
Oh, cool.
Which was really awesome. And that's the North Face funded campaign for them. And that was for the global brand as well. So, pretty cool.
Awesome.
And Mel was like, can you come and take photos for us? And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. This is crazy. I guess I'll try.
Yeah.
And I think the plan was originally potentially going to be shot at Durite, and then it was shot at a gym in the city. And I was like, I've never shot indoors before. I haven't shot indoor bouldering before. I've never shot for like a brand like North Face before. There was so many things that made me so uncomfortable. There was a huge lighting crew there and a videography crew. And I have quite a bit of social anxiety, and it was just like through the roof. And that was so out of my comfort zone. But they liked the photos and they sent me an email a few months later saying, do you want to do our summer spring campaign in the Blue Mountains? And I was just like, do you want me back? Like, this is awesome. So yeah, that was pretty amazing.
Nice. And that 10-year-old self probably couldn't conceive the idea of having not just like North Face Australia, but then also working with like the global brand as well to kind of, I mean, shooting for North Face, it must be like, whether it was on the bucket list or not to take Earthy Media that far, it must be still like quite a bucket list achievement that you've done, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't even on the list.
Totally.
Really.
Yeah,
It was like the list exists and then there's like this ethereal list that's like, this isn't reachable, but you know, who knows? And then, yeah, it just happened. And I was like, well, I guess I can tick that. I mean, it doesn't really feel like it's ticked off the list. It's just like added to the list of like amazing people. And the team there are wonderful as well. And they're super great to work for. So kind of all made it feel like the little child inside of me that was exploding with joy and discomfort, like be like, oh, actually, like everyone's human and everything's fine. And, you know, it was cool.
It's funny. Like it's like I was saying, like kind of being in the earthy sphere for however long, 4 or 5 years or so. And I remember seeing like the North Face actually post their pictures on their feed of your photos. I was like, hey, look at this. I felt so proud. I'm like, I don't even know what you look like. I didn't even know your face at the time. And I'm like, this is so awesome. Like, yeah, you must be so proud of yourself. And if you aren't, you should be, you know? But what does that look like in terms of working with brands? Like, they obviously approached you through contacts and links and everything, but now that door has been open. So like other brands are obviously reaching out to you. Like we saw what you did with Elite 11 and I thought those photos were awesome. So sweet as well. Like taking that athleisure brand and getting them outdoors, I think worked so well. The photos were awesome. Is there, working with like big brands and everything looking like for yourself?
So I had like this, like, I had a crazy year in 2024. Yeah. Where things kind of exploded without me really, I felt like I wasn't really doing anything. Like maybe I was posting on Instagram, I had friends who were climbing and stuff, and I think a lot of my work did come through Mel actually, and that's how I got contacts. So I got contacts for Arc'teryx and the North Face and Paddy Palin all through working with Climbing Cuties. So that was like, so privileged to have that connection and get to know people through that. And it felt like a crazy year. I'd gone from like 0 to what felt like my 100. And I didn't really know what to do. Like at first I didn't have an ABN. So I was like, okay, well, I've got to get an ABN for this. And, I didn't own like any hard drives. My computer, like I was editing photos and it would be like lagging and I couldn't, it was taking me forever to edit photos. I was using my hotspot at this house, which is like, it's fine, but it's slow. So uploading things to Google Drive like took forever. I had to upgrade my Google Drive because things weren't fitting anymore. I bought a new laptop. Like I was shooting on one lens for like a whole year, which is funny because I still only shoot on one lens, but it's a different lens now. Mostly on one lens. And
what is the lens?
16 to 35.
Nice.
I want to go wider. I love it. Yeah. Whereas previously it was just 24 to 70 because that's all I had. And I actually, all my gear is off Marketplace too. So I was just like, I don't know, like I'm just doing what I can and which I can recommend getting secondhand camera gear. Like if you're getting into it, like it's such a great place to get gear. Yeah. But like I felt like I was kind of drowning in this sea of things that I could be doing, but I was like really didn't know what to do and didn't know how to process that. I didn't know how to make invoices. Like I didn't know how to price and like
it turned quickly into a business. It was just
so crazy. So the 2024 was a huge learning year. And I almost think like I didn't feel like I was learning. I just felt like I was drowning the whole time. And now I feel like I'm slowly learning to swim. Maybe I've got floaties now. We're slowly graduating. I've just finished a little creative business course as well, which has kind of helped with learning how to do pricing and pitching to brands and things, because after that year, work started to drop off a little bit and I was like, I kind of liked that. Like, I guess now I've got to find work and now I've got to pitch to brands. And I think my social anxiety and self-confidence that I struggle with is this huge roadblock to me approaching brands and being like, hey, instead of being like, can I work with you? You have to kind of change the narrative to be like, here's how I can help you and here's what I can provide for you. This is why
you should work with me.
Yeah, totally. And I find that so uncomfortable. So like learning how to do that in a way that feels real to me is really strange, and I'm still kind of working on that. So yeah, I would love to continue to work with brands that align with me as well. So yeah, this year I've done a lot more event work, trail running events and things like that. And like I had my first magazine photo this year in Vertical Life, and just like diversifying a little bit and like having my hands in a few different pots and things like that has been really cool, and kind of just figuring out how this kind of looks moving forward. This year I also changed from Earthy Media to just my name. Because like you were saying earlier, no one knew what I looked like, and that's how I liked it. I was like, I don't want people to know like what I look like or who I am. They don't need to. This is my art, and that's okay. They can just see that. And I think maybe deep down, I was just worried about what people would think about me if I posted a photo that they didn't like, or I had this expectation that of what I wanted my work to look like and my art to look like, and I didn't want people to necessarily know who I was. So I was kind of using that as like something to hide behind, and I was like, okay, I guess it's time to like step out of that now, and it's me who's doing the art, you know? So like having my name as the business name felt a little bit more aligned, and starting to then also post photos of me and what I'm doing and things like that, and make it a little bit more like, yeah, there's a human behind this camera, and things like that has been a big change as well.
And I like that transition as well. Like there was, whether it was at the same time, but you did like that reel of like the introduction of who you are, and I thought that was beautifully well written and everything like that as well, and it explains you perfectly. But just to go back onto brands a little bit, I have such an interest in them. Like obviously North Face and these brands that you work with, like Ultra, Arc'teryx, Ultra. Is that a shoe brand? Ultra.
Yeah.
I would like to, I want some of your thoughts around, you may see it as well, like these other brands that are branching into or like piggybacking off the climbing scene, like such like Puma and Gucci and stuff like these lately, who are like using climbing because I guess it's like it's somewhat hot right now, and they're using that to promote their own products. Do you have like feelings and thoughts around that at all? Like I can't see what my true thoughts are with it, because I'm not really too sure whether it's like I'm happy that it's happening because at some point it's going to bring more eyes and more money into the climbing space, but then also like how Solomon got cool and got hip, and now Solomon's at $360 a shoe or something like that. And like, I use those as my approach shoe, and now they're just super expensive. So it's like it kind of takes things away from climbers a little bit as well. It's just, yeah, your thoughts in terms of like the brands using climbing photography, I guess, to promote themselves.
Yeah, I also don't know if I have figured out my exact thoughts on that also. Like it's really interesting. I think I really grapple with the idea of consumerism and like just consuming for consuming
for consumption.
For consumption, yeah. And yeah, I find that something quite challenging working in the brand space. And that's why I think I do prefer to work with outdoor brands, because if I'm going to work with brands, I want people who and brands who are promoting being outside and maybe putting money back into the community, and really heroing, you know, human achievement and also how beautiful this landscape is. And I think some brands do that quite well. And, you know, we do live in a world where money does mean something, and if, you know, if that does mean that we have to like work with people, I'm trying to get my words right. Yeah, we can't avoid consumerism, or it's hard to, I guess. And if I can work with brands who align a little bit more with getting people into the outdoor space, then that feels nicer for me. Yeah, the Elite 11 shoot, I think, almost fits into the space of like what you were talking about with Puma and other brands, kind of like using climbing as an accessory as opposed to like heroing the human, you know, existence and how we're our relationship with the environment. I think there's also a world where art exists too, where you can just like do whatever you want, you know. Totally. So there's like so many different. Yeah, I don't know what my thoughts are.
I think it's a hard one to answer. Like I don't know if there is a true answer. Like to be fully on the side of like if 10 years down the track and that collaboration with Gucci or something like that has brought millions of dollars into the climbing community and has brought more people into the climbing space, like it would be in my eyes like a net positive, even though it was for a capitalist consumerism sort of based tendency. I don't know. It's a hard one for sure. But it just feels like, because it's so close to home, you don't want to be like, don't take this like sweet little vibe that we have going and make it into this like massive thing, which maybe it needs to get to the next level. Like, I don't know, climbing, I think people have that feeling with climbing going to the Olympics and being more of a sport. Like the traditional climbing people sort of shun it in a way because they don't like all the eyes on climbing and everything like that. So it's almost like a similar conversation there potentially. I don't know. But yeah, I like the climbing in the Olympics. I like following it. Yeah. And you actually get to see like, I really enjoy sporting moments, love sporting moments. And now I can watch sporting moments with climbing, which is like a really nice feeling, you know, like I'm very attached to that, which I think is cool.
Yeah. And you're bringing more communities into, I guess, the Olympics too, and like helping people feel more like it makes it more relatable to a wider audience, right? And you're feeling like, hey, that's what I do. It's on TV. That's pretty cool. Or like you might even know the climbers in the Olympics too. Like it's quite a small community, and that's pretty rad too.
That is pretty rad.
Yeah.
That is pretty rad. Yeah. Yeah, it was funny. I think when it was in the Olympics the first year and with the time frame, they put speed climbing on first. And like my whole family were like, "Oh, that's what you do." And I'm like, "Well, I don't know. Yeah, I've tried it, sure."
Yeah.
You know, but it's, they go so fast. I'm like, they are incredibly fast. Like, you should see me on that wall. It's ridiculously slow. They're doing it in 5 seconds. I'm like 26 seconds or something like this.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It is cool, actually. You touching on that, like, I think it's really cool for people's friends and families and to see climbing. Like so many people I've talked to, the people in this sphere that aren't climbers or don't climb, they don't really necessarily understand what that actually looks like. They might see it in photos or, you know, whatever, and be like, whoa, that looks scary or unsafe, or, you know, whatever label you want to put on it. Which is all perceived risk too. I mean, anything can be unsafe if you do it unsafely.
Totally, yeah. Driving without a seatbelt, etc.
I mean, just driving on the road, right?
Driving around here, there's kangaroos everywhere. Like just driving normally, it can be dangerous.
Just walking down the street,
Totally.
I don't know, trip over. Like, it's all dangerous. Burn your mouth on a hot cup of tea. Like,
thank you, did that.
So I think having that showcased to such a wider audience also can be like, hey, this is kind of what I do, and that's really cool as well. Yeah,
I love the conversations which like again, family, friends, or people at work or whatever it might be. I'm like, oh yeah, I went out climbing on the weekend. Oh, how hard'd you go? You're like, yeah, like 15 meters, I guess. And like, oh, well, it's more of like a difficulty sort of style of things. Sometimes I go high, sometimes I go hard, you know. It's just like try and balance it out like that. And they're like, huh, okay, you're not climbing mountains. I'm like, I don't know if I've ever climbed a mountain before.
Yeah, it's so cool, like hearing how other people interpret, like, I'm going climbing. Yeah, it's super fun.
Yeah, and somewhat they look at you with like heroic, like you're just like, you're a hero.
Yeah,
you know?
Totally.
You're Superman. You're so scary. You're like, you definitely get used to it though.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I'm recently with a friend kind of teaching them how to climb, and well, not how to climb, but I guess like how to lead belay and kind of the ropes of climbing, no pun intended, but how to use a gree and all those things. And basically because, I mean, they were really psyched to get into it, and we had the space to go and do that. And it's been really cool because so many times I'll be climbing with people and they'll lead this climb and I'll be like, as if you led that. That's insane. Like, that's like so impressive, because me seconding it or even watching them climb, I'm like out of my skin scared. And the idea of leading that makes me poo my pants, like, let alone even trying to lead it. And I think that's really awesome. And that's happened to me so many times. And then I've recently gone climbing with my friend and he's saying the same thing to me. And I'm climbing what I would see as a grade that is quite comfortable for me. And it's cool that climbing really does offer something for someone at every single level. And how your perspectives change over time, but also how important it is to put yourself in other people's shoes and remember their perspectives as well. Because like we're all doing cool stuff and like it's all cool. And I think one thing that I really want to try and continue to do and do more in my climbing photography is hero those different spaces in climbing, add more diversity and tell people's stories a little bit more because it's all amazing and we all have had, or we're all starting or even ending, some kind of journey through climbing and it's amazing how it changes over time.
I think at any level of climbing you can have a conversation with tiers and tiers above you and tiers below you and just have like immense commonalities and similarities of your experience, because it is just repetitively like the same experience almost over and over again.
Totally.
And you just kind of forget that that's where it started, where you're like, oh yeah, I was scared on like that very, that back wall 9 or something like that. It was like first time going out, I was like, that was so scary. And then going out like, last week, I'm like, that was also really scary. It was also still really, really scary. And it's the same experience, same feelings, same emotions that you're all going through at the same time. And it's just, different, I guess, levels, which doesn't matter really at all.
And I guess it's the same with like everything you do, right? Like whether it's trail running or whatever sport you do, everyone, if they're trying hard, that's their hard, and like that's the same, like you just said, the same feeling, the same emotion, just felt by different people doing slightly different things. And remembering that and experiencing that is really cool. And like also honoring that as well. Like I think working with young people doing school camps and stuff also offers you a really interesting perspective too, because like I think young people are really finding themselves and finding their limits and how they feel emotionally and physically, and also seeing how they react and how they feel doing hard things. And it's like so cool.
Are you still doing a bit of guiding?
Yeah.
Cool.
I did my first week-long trip with year 8s in feels like a couple of years last week. Cool. Which was a shock to the system. Because normally I think I've done guiding with adults more recently or day trips with tourists. So that was, I was like, wow, year 8s. Yeah.
Handful?
Yeah. And I think the older you get, the easier, well, I found it for me, like stepping away, having a few more years experience, it's really interesting to just observe young people and how they react to things and how they move through things. And I think you can learn a lot about yourself, and then you also like have to remember how you were when you were growing up and how forgiveness and a little bit of hard love is like really important for these people. And everyone comes from such a, everyone comes from different backgrounds. And when you're younger, that background is often quite small. You're in this world of, especially for the people that I'm working with, they go to school, they go home kind of thing. And them coming out here, this is with the school that I worked with last week. Some of them have never been to a location like this before. And making sure that you can provide a space where they can learn and instead of just like teaching them things, giving them basically just being that door, being that conduit between them and the environment and helping them learn and love it because
and respect it and everything as well.
Absolutely. And I truly think that education and learning to love a place is going to make you want to care for it. So I think outdoor education for young people is so important. And that's how people get into things like climbing and these outdoor pursuits, is like through being exposed to it. Because how else do you know it exists?
Totally,
and I feel like it's easy to put those things on a pedestal or see it on social media and be like, wow, that's so out of reach or so impossible for me to do. But all it takes is like that door to be open for you to walk through, or have your hand held a little bit, or have a friend, or, it's obviously a deep privilege to be in a country and you know, have friends and access to ways that you can experience this environment and go on these school camps and stuff. So making sure that we get the most out of that, I think, is really important.
That's awesome. It's you've kind of got like a couple of avenues to help, whether it's just like kids or whether it's just people who want to like step into the outdoors. You've got conduits to kind of help. Like sometimes when you see a photo, it's just like, I want to go there. I want to be out there. If it's, whether it's a climbing photo or just someone in a mountainous region or something like that, like that in itself is almost like a right of way for people to be like, I do want to go out. I want to see that. Like they can give such inspiration and everything as well when you're looking at a photo or when you're watching a video or when you hear someone passionate, like a guide who's passionate about a space and a place and tell you like, this is what I do. Like you could also come out here and do this. Like you don't have to go down these traditional paths or anything like this. I think it's again, speaks to the great things I think that you're doing with the community. In terms of inspiration, like maybe just with photography, do you have things that, or photographers or anything that you draw inspiration from? Because I think even just yesterday, it was funny bumping into you yesterday because I was doing a shoot for the podcast, random little shoot of things that I've thought of, and I was on your profile like a couple of days before to like try and get inspiration as well. So it's just like
that's so wild.
Yeah, like it is like you are inspiring to me, which is such like a cool thing. And to see the photos that you take and everything like that as well. I was trying to like get a vibe of like how I want things to look as well, and like jumping on, you know, like looking at Jimmy Chin's photography. Going back to like, I looked at like Ansel Adams photography, which is like really sick black and white old school photography. And then yourself as well, which is just like, almost like on these, this kind of puts you on in my inspirational world of photography because it brings, you're a bit closer than Jimmy Chin in terms of, my circles, but it's cool to put you on that level as well. What's like inspiring or an inspiration for you?
Wow, that makes my like a heart explode. That's so nice. Thank you.
Welcome.
So I think at first the inspiration came from the spaces that I was in. Like I think for a long time, up until maybe a year or two ago, I wasn't super invested in other people's work in terms of photography. Like it wasn't something that I seeked out. Like I wasn't looking for inspiration in that way. I would see things in passing and be like, oh, that's a sick photo. Cool. But I wasn't necessarily like seeking out inspiration. I think like I was just inspired from what I saw and my friends and the people around me. And I think that like it still inspires me so much to this day. Because I come out here and what was I doing the other day? I drove out. I was packing up tents from this school program and I was working in a space where I've been working with Parks Victoria doing some recovery work, and we'd done some work nearby and seeing like the juxtaposition of like the new infrastructure that had been rebuilt and then the burnt spaces and just the beauty of like the rock that I was staring at and the trees. Like I was almost in tears with how much I love this place and it inspires me so much and I want to protect it so much. And like and protecting it is like such a huge, that covers so many things. Like what does protecting the space actually look like? But I think that inspires me beyond all else. And then like having friends doing amazing things. But I think there's like a lot of like creatives in Australia who are doing some really cool stuff, like Divya. I can't remember the last name.
It's okay.
And they do some film work and I think really tell stories really nicely, both in the outdoor space and not in the outdoor space. And I think I really like the powerful storytelling that she does. And I feel really inspired by that and how she captures people in the landscape. And then there's some other photographers that I, have spent some time chatting to recently. Marcus Reed, who's doing some incredible stuff, and Dagan Prescott, both photographers kind of in the outdoor brand space. And I think it almost brings the human back into what I'm doing sometimes, like seeing other photographers out there doing things, especially, in other countries, or I can feel quite disconnected, and I'm like, and it takes the humanness away from it. Sometimes I like put them on a giant pedestal and I'm like, wow, I'll never be like that, or would, whatever it is, which I need to like check in with myself and be like, no, they are human and they're just incredible and they've like worked on their art and, all these things. But having people that I can relate to with their stories, especially in the Australian space, is really cool. And especially people that are capturing similar things to you, but in a different way. Like, I never thought that my photos had a uniqueness to them. I was just like, yeah, I'm just taking photos. But after kind of moving through the spheres of seeing other people's work and seeing how their look is, and other people's art kind of like has the essence of them in them, I was like, oh, cool. I do have a little thing. So, yeah, really enjoying how other people capture things, and drawing inspiration from that as well. And just seeing how like we all see the world so differently. And I think that's like pretty awesome.
Totally.
So yeah, I think my friends really inspire me the most though.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And yeah, this beautiful place that we're in, I think it's a dream for a lot of, maybe not Australian, but Victorian climbers to sort of make the way out to the Grampians as well, because of how you feel when you hear, like, it's just so inspiring. I don't know. It's just the amount of times that I've been here, I've never lost any sense of like, wow, I can stare at the rocks all day. I can stare at the birds, the kangaroos, like I can stare at it all for so long. And now living here for how long you've lived here, is there a sense of awe that gets lost? Like, does anything feel like when you live in a place for so long and things start to lose a sense of, I don't know, like a sense of, you can't say beauty because I don't think this place can lose that, but like, does it feel normal, I guess?
I mean, I think like all it takes is a small break or a small step away from it to like, you can never experience something for the first time again, for the first time, obviously. And that's always very special, that first time you see something or the first time you experience something. And I don't think I'll ever see that. But in this landscape, there's always something new to see.
Yeah.
And I think the landscape's changed a lot in the last, 12 months with I think 80% of the park being burnt, and also working with parks and having two housemates who are ecologists, and friends who work very closely with the flora and the fauna in this space. Constantly learning here, I think, keeps that awe alive. And there's like so much diversity here, and like everything relies off everything, and yeah, it's like such a special space. So I don't think that, no, it like, if anything, it's grown, and I will walk through town and look up at the mountains and Mackey's Peak behind Halls Gap, and just like, wow, as if like I can just stand here and look at that. That's like insane. And I just spent 5 weeks in the Blue Mountains, and first time I ever went there, I was like, get me out of here. I hate it. It's too built up. I have to pay for parking. Like all of this is too overwhelming, and I don't feel welcomed and safe here. I spent a few days away, and then I came back, and I was like, all right, I need to find somewhere that I do feel welcome and safe. And I think living in my car, the idea of like having to pay for parking everywhere, and not being allowed to sleep in my car, and all these little things that they don't really, it's not so enforced here. I mean, I have a house here, but there's a few free campgrounds around, and there's spaces where you can be. But I didn't know about Mount York Campground, Mount York? Yeah, which is free in the Blueies. at the time, and I was just like, wow, I don't feel welcomed here. So I left. Came back. I have some friends who live there. I parked up in some driveways. I also parked up at Mount York as well. And I spent more time trail running and climbing out there. I was like, oh, actually, this place is pretty good. And there is the luxuries of like being close to Sydney and town and stuff. But it was quite a difference to what I expected. I think I expected small little towns like Halls Gap to be up there, but it was quite more built up. So I spent 5 weeks there. And I've kind of learnt to love it in its own way, and I do really enjoy it there. But then I came back here and I drove into town, and I came in kind of late, and then I went to bed, and I woke up in the morning. The first thing I heard was gang cockatoos flying past. And I was like, wow, I love this place. Like, it's so special. And just hearing the birds, and even sitting out here, I had some friends over the last few days, and I think you notice different things when you have people over, because you're like, you know, they're noticing the things, and you're like really taking things in a different way. And yeah, like I have 2 dead trees outside the front who harbor so many birds coming through all the time. There's always birds in this dead tree, and I'm just like, wow, dead trees are great. You know, like I think I haven't, you know, you just witness so many different things changing and happening in this space that it's hard to like fall out of love with it or fall out of awe with it. And all you have to do is step away for a couple of weeks, see something new, and you come back and it's just like, yep, I'm home. This is great. Yeah. So there's a bit of a ramble over for your question, but
no, yeah, that's exactly what I want to hear. Though, like, I want to hear about what it's like living here and kind of what it means to you as well, and how it differs from other places and everything like that as well. I think it's people take value from that. You touched on a little bit as well. I haven't really thought about. Were you here during the fires then? If you've been living here for a couple of years? Yeah.
So this is my 5th year here. If I take all the little trips that I've gone away for, it's probably not actually 5 years, but I've been calling it home for that long. And I have experienced the 2 fires in 2 different ways that have happened here, because we had the Pomona fires February 2024. Yeah, because we're in 2025 now, right?
Yeah.
And then the bigger bushfires, or bigger in size, I suppose, bushfires later that year. And I was working for Forest Fire Management the year of the Pomona fires, and I guess I was quite in that, and really knew kind of what was going on more than I guess someone who isn't part of that space. And it was really interesting to experience, and quite tough to have friends that have lost homes, and you know, they're still going through recovery, and there's a lot of aching there, and there's kind of this two ways of thinking of it too, because like we're obviously living in this space where it is bushfire prone, and you have to accept that when you move and live in a space like this, that that's a risk, but you can't also, that can't take away how special your own home is, and like how hard it is to see things be burnt. And especially with these more recent fires, it burnt so hot, and there's so much that's been burnt that it is quite devastating. So that first of the fires, the last year, it was tough, but I felt kind of at ease in a way, because I kind of knew what was happening, and I felt like I was giving back in a way, and helping in a way that I could, and the way that I knew how to, and I was allowed to within the scope of work. It was obviously hard. And then this more recent fire, I wasn't on fire crew, but I just come back from Nepal and had started working, and I'd actually recently fractured my spine a few days before the fires, and so that was kind of hectic. We knew about the lightning storm came through, and had my lightning tracker on my phone, and I was like, okay, so the lightning band came through here, and I was keeping an eye on it, and a fire popped up where the lightning is struck, and a lot of the fires here are started by dry lightning. So everyone was kind of, you know, watching everything change and happen, and came to a point where from here we could see this giant smoke plume. And the fire was definitely coming closer, and there was probably going to have to be a point where Halls Gap was evacuated, because we are just this little gap, you know, with two mountains either side. And I think given my experience last year, although the fires previously, when I saw that big smoke plume and the fire somewhat moving towards us, even though the fire crews were doing like an amazing job working through that, I was like, you know what, I think I want to leave. You know, I either leave now or I leave later. And obviously, given I'd broken my back like a week prior or something, my housemate packed my car for me, and I had to get all these things ready, and I couldn't really drive for very long because I was like, I can't really sit down for long. So I drove and stayed at a friend's place in Nadimak for a week or so, which was like very privileged to have that space, and just kind of watched the smoke from Nadi kind of, and it was really scary. And the idea of like, I don't know, like losing this house obviously I didn't want to lose this space, but the idea of like the hurt that the whole park was experiencing and the people might experience if they also lost homes was quite, I think I felt a lot of weight with that. And then also the weight of like not helping in a way that I'd like to, you know, obviously evacuating is helping, but not being on the front line I think was hard for me, but then also not really being able to move very much because my back was broken. It was just like, we're here.
Yeah, you would have been probably a liability on that front line with the broken back.
Yeah, I definitely think so. So yeah, that was that. And
yeah, so
it's
intense.
Still recovering. You know, I think the landscape will be recovering for a very long time, and same with the flora and fauna as well, because it did burn very hot. And you know, our endangered brush-tailed rock wallabies are currently going through we have Parks Victoria, who I've been working with, have a program where we're going out and supplementing their food and water, because we're basically in a season of drought. We haven't had much water, and the rock wallabies drink through seeps, through rocks. So they haven't had any water to drink. So and there's only, you know, there's not many out there, 25, 35, something like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, critically endangered, and beautiful little rock wallabies. And yeah, so it's affected so many different parts of the park. Obviously, feeding wildlife is not a good idea, and it's not something that's encouraged, but in certain spaces, we're trying to have the most hands-off approach as we can, but keep them alive. So yeah, it's had a huge impact. But in also saying that, there's some orchids that are popping up now that do come up after bushfire and things like that. So there's different ways that the environment's reacting, which is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember we came here earlier this year. I can't remember what it was, but it was like there was still a lot of fire management staff, rescue teams, I'm not sure, like clearing paths and trails and everything like that as well. And when we got a coffee, I spoke to the lady there, and she said because I guess it is such a small community in Halls Gap, it's just those kind of things just draw people together. Like you know who's on the front lines because you know you gave them a coffee or you served them dinner and stuff like that, and you get that feel here as well. Even just out to dinner on Saturday night, I think it was, and we went to the pizza shop, which I can't remember if you want to shout out the pizza shop's name.
Ricolto, the best pizza in the Gap.
There you go. Yeah. And just everyone there, you could tell who the locals were, and it just felt like a very nice vibe. So then to go through like these kind of experiences that they're going through with each other, it must be like fortifying in terms of their heart for the place and also their heart for each other as well. Yeah, that's crazy. That's something that, yeah, you face and you kind of go through as well. I couldn't imagine. It must be so scary. Like deciding whether to actually, like the decision that you've made as well, correct one, to leave or to not leave and be like, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. And like our house here backs onto the national park, and we do have a fire hydrant next to our house, but like learning a lot of the things we'd learnt going through fire crew myself and my housemate both work the same season, and you know, looking at what's around us, it's like, okay, we've cleaned out our gutters, we've whippersnipped all the bracken around our house, and we've done what we can to like make it, you know, somewhat, you know, protected, but our house isn't surviving. You know, like if the fire came through here, there's no way it would survive. So it was really like, okay, what do you want to keep? And that within itself was like, okay, what is actually important to me? And, you know, I was just grabbing things like, well, paperwork, obviously, that's like essential to personal identity and surviving in the world. But, you know, like, okay, cool. 3 pairs of pants, all of my underwear, and a couple of shirts, and then like pictures of my friends and little trinkets. And that was like, all right, cool. Well, you know, I can survive off this, and this is what's important. And I think that's an important lesson within itself. And I mean, you also, it's totally different, but going on adventures and like, you know, through hiking or camping or, you know, bike packing, whatever it is, you take so many little things with you and you really realize how important and not important things are and like what really truly is important. And I think in moments like this, you realize the importance of community and friends. And I love the community here. Like it's the first time I'd ever felt really held by a space and supported, and going down the street and like, you know, someone will just wind their window down and honk at you and be like, g'day, you know, whatever. And you know, you can go into the post office and have a chat for a while and collect your mail, because no one has letter boxes here. So you have to go and chat to people, and
That's nice.
and running past people on the trail and saying hi. And it's really interesting if I ever go to the city, which I avoid as much as I can. People don't look at you and say hi, you know. People are just like in their own little space, you know, walking and doing their own thing, and everyone's so in their thoughts because they're just, you know, there's things to think about, and you do get caught up in your own thoughts and your own little mini mission, which can be fun to kind of like imagine yourself in, like, okay, if I was this person, like, what am I doing? Where am I going? You know, it's fun to kind of do that. But I don't know, I feel like it feels a little bit disconnected. And here I feel so connected. There is less people, and sometimes it can feel like a little bit lonely here, I think. But the bushfires, I think, and times of challenge do really bring people together. And I think this community is so beautiful and so strong that, you know, we are working through it, and that's really cool. Yeah.
What's it like during like the off-peak time when it's not just like yesterday, people all around, tourists coming through and everything? When it's just like a casual weekend and just like, I don't know what time of the year, probably let's just say it's somewhere in the winter or something like that. Is it just the people that live here kind of just cruising around doing their thing? Like what do, I don't know, like I just assume a lot of people are climbing or they're in fire rescue, or I don't like, what is what do people do here is, I guess?
Well, I'm probably not here for starters. I think I've spent 2 winters here in the full like 5 years that I've been here. This winter I was here working full time, which never ever happens. So I did that for a few months, and you know, like I think it's super cold here. And a lot of the houses are built quite terribly when it comes to insulation. So I'm in bed with my -19 sleeping bag, my doona, my blanket, my hot water bottle, and I'm like, finally I'm warm.
Right. Yeah.
And because you lose quite like a bit of sunlight in the morning and the afternoon because of the mountains either side, it is kind of dark and cold and a little bit sad.
Yeah.
People definitely leave for the winter. But this winter was super dry, so a lot of people did use that. You know, they were climbing a lot more. And yeah, it really just depends. I think the previous winters have been quite wet, and there's not really anything to do here when it's raining. Like, yeah, you can't just like pop down to the local climbing gym, or like the closest gym is half an hour away, which isn't too bad.
Where is that?
Stall.
Oh, there's one there.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Not a climbing gym, but like gym, like
gym.
weight
Okay.
gym. Yeah. The closest climbing gym I think is Ballarat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you can go to the cafe. Like, I don't know. There's not really, like, when it's raining, it can be challenging winters here. So that's why I don't spend a lot of time here, and a lot of people do tend to leave. But it does kind of have this uniqueness where, because there's less people in town, you kind of become closer and build deeper friendships, I think. The environment also changes a lot during the winter. Like the mushrooms come out, the fungi come out. Everything kind of has this beautiful sheen to it because it's like hopefully maybe like damp and raining and lovely, and there's moss everywhere and the waterfalls are flowing. And so there is a lot of life that kind of comes out in the winter. So it's really beautiful. But I think for 3 months, it can feel like a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. If you get like weeks of rain, you just kind of bunkered down in the cold.
Totally, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Just watching movies.
Yeah, sitting in front of the fire.
Probably read a lot of books. Maybe
Yeah.
read a lot of books.
Yeah. Look at a lot of pictures in books.
Just go through your photos.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's winter's fun.
Yep.
Yeah, you can't grow kombucha in the winter.
Oh.
Like, unless you have every house that I've lived in, I've tried to make kombucha over the winter and the scobies just die.
Really?
Plants die.
Oh, no.
Things so
There'd be no bread making. You won't be able to make any bread.
literally, like, my friend who makes sourdough struggles to make sourdough in the winter.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah. So it's cool. Yeah.
Don't let that deter you though, folks.
No, I love winter's great. Yeah, it's a good time for being cozy with your friends and having the fire going and yeah, it has its own beauty.
Yeah.
It's a slowness and yeah.
There's a romantic feeling if you want it there.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
For sure. Your climbing. I kind of want to touch on your climbing a little bit. Like, so you got introduced to it from a friend, is that right?
Yeah, kind of. Like, I was lucky enough to go to Canada during TAFE in 2019, and we climbed out in the Rockies. I didn't know anything about climbing. I remember watching the person who put up the ropes just like, I didn't know what it was at that time. For me, they were just climbing up the rock with no ropes above them. And I was like, what the heck are you doing? Like, you're gonna fall and die. Like, what? Like, how are you doing this? Like, I guess free soloing is what you'd probably label that if you were to label it. But and these climbs were like something that was quite challenging. And we put on our like harnesses that were the ones that we give clients now on tours and things, and we learned how to tie a figure of 8 and we learned how to belay each other, and we had a belayer and a backup belayer, and everything that I'm kind of like teaching people now through guiding is like how I got introduced to it, which is really cool. And I look back, I have a few photos of that, and I look back and now I see the rock in a new way. I'm like, I can see the features and like how I might climb this thing, and which is a really cool transition. And then I came back and I was doing freelance outdoor ed work with a friend, and yeah, they were a very keen climber, particularly crack climbing. They were just like frothing on crack climbing. So my first time at Durite, we went on a crack siege, and like I think one of my first climbs was like necrophiliac. Then I got dragged up that, and I was like, this is crazy, and I didn't know anything about crack climbing.
Yeah, I still don't.
Yeah. it's pretty fun though.
Yeah.
I must say I've grown to love it. But and then a few days later I was seconding Bam Bam, like, which is a 20 crack climb, and I was just like, yeah, wow, I guess climbing is just hard all the time. And like, that was my introduction. I mean, what a beautiful introduction to have, to hang out at the Pines. And then I moved here. So I moved into a house full of backpackers who were working on the trail crew for the Grampians Peaks Trail at the time. And pretty much all of them were climbers. So I think there's 6 of us. And one person from Canada, someone else from Germany, someone else from France, someone from Queensland, someone else from the Peninsula, and then myself. So like quite a interesting crew.
Cool.
And the park eventually closed, so we weren't actually allowed to spend any time exploring the park during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're out in the park every day working, so we didn't necessarily feel the drive to do that. But we did have a big boulder in our backyard, which we'd go out and boulder on sometimes.
Sick. There's a different place to here.
No, so down the road from here, there's like, I think I've lived in 4 different houses while I've been here.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sick.
And then we do trips to Durite or Appleys as well. Like one of my fond memories was like us and some friends that literally just we worked with as well went and hung out and just climbed the woody for like a whole day, which doesn't exist at Durite anymore. It's fallen down, but it was like, do you know, are you familiar?
No.
I think it would be still be in the guidebook, but it was just this big tree that had fallen down and it was a boulder problem.
Sick.
And we just had this picnic next to the woody and we like climbed that all day. And then I feel like we maybe did a multi-pitch or something, but it was so quiet out there. You could just do whatever you wanted and like just chill and climb. And it was just like really such a beautiful kind of soft launch into the world of climbing. And it really kind of, to me, it was just like friends hanging out and then going climbing for fun. Just
Yeah, that sounds perfect.
yeah.
Sounds so perfect.
There was not really any like, you know, it was kind of just like climbing was this complementary thing that you could all do together as opposed to like this, you know, there's so much, you know, I've learned about all these people who are going to the Olympics for it and like it's such a giant world, but at that point it was just
so small.
little and fun. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I always love how people like take that first step outdoors. I always find that so interesting and like, I don't know, everyone's is so different, but to have like your first steps out at the Grampians or out at Arapiles, like I'm just somewhat envious of that as well. And maybe I was pretty psyched at the start, I guess. I frequented Macedon for, I reckon, 2.5 years or something like that. But maybe it was good for development of our climbing, I guess.
Totally. And it really speaks to like the diversity of how climbing kind of like manifests in different people and their journey to that too. Like, I think that's pretty cool, you know, like to have this space that, you know, is your little home crag and then like go to this place that's like, whoa, mind blowing.
Yeah. And then it's actually been really nice is to like introduce it back in as well. Like, I think I didn't go to Mount Macedon for maybe another 2.5 years after I sort of stopped and just was starting to go to the Cathedral Ranges and then going out to Grampians and Arapiles and everything as well. And then going back there and being like, oh, this feels nostalgic now. Like this feels like really nice to be back here and like touching the same rock and climbing on the same climbs and redoing some of the things there. I think it's a nice little arc, nice little character arc for Macedon for me. Yeah, definitely holds a special space. And it's dog friendly, which is also great.
Yeah, crazy. True. Didn't know that. Yeah. Ah, cool. Yeah, it's I love hearing like how people's journeys started, and I think a lot of them like are starting to begin in gyms now too, which is like kind of a cool different way, because I feel like maybe that wasn't quite a thing for a while there, and there's so many gyms everywhere now, and
So many, yeah.
and so much access to like seeing climbing and like what that is, and it's really like you were touching on earlier, like it's being heroed by brands that like don't typically do that sort of stuff, and it's really kind of like worming its way into like so many different worlds, and people are seeing it as so many different things to them, you know, whether it's like a way to get outside or whether it's a way to move your body or a way to challenge yourself or just way to hang out with friends. Like it holds so many different spaces for different people, which is really cool. And I think spaces like Climbing Cuties and other organizations that celebrate and bring people into the sport of diversity and creating safer spaces for more people, I think is also like a really beautiful thing that's coming out of climbing becoming more popular.
Yeah.
So it's really cool that stuff like that's happening as well.
Oh, I hope it just keeps on popping off as well, with like all these little like subcategories of like what rock climbing is, or what, just not even rock climbing, because then you're taking out plastic, but just what climbing is, I guess, in general.
Totally.
Yeah, it's got a cool ways to go. You know, I think it's going to have a really cool path. I just hope it doesn't get like so popular with the people who like, I think as popularity can grow and it grows rapidly, maybe people's exposure to like the treatment and respect of the actual place kind of diminishes a little bit as well. I just hope that, that doesn't happen. I generally think it would. And if people are out there and in those spaces, you just learn to respect it from being out there naturally. But yeah, I don't know. There's always going to be one person, I feel, you know, but that's where it's up to us, you know, to pull them back in line if they're leaving plastic bottles around the crowd and stuff like that. Just sort of, voice up there, I think is the important thing. Yeah,
I think we're at a very interesting moment in time where we are seeing a lot of people coming from climbing gyms out here that maybe have never been to spaces like this before. And education, like we were touching on earlier, is so important. And I really think that there is space and there needs to be some kind of bridge between the indoor space and the outdoor space, because people just do things to their knowledge, right? People aren't hopefully out there, you know, deliberately doing things in a harmful way to our environment, because they are out here and they want to experience it. So if we can find a way to like bridge that gap and educate people and teach them what it really is to like look after a space, so we can continue to have a relationship with it, and a good relationship, a healthy relationship with it that's good for the space and good for the people, I think is really important. And I think that's something that's really important at the moment, because we are seeing so many people coming out, and like obviously there's a lot of changes happening in climbing at the moment with so many different spaces. So I think education, learning, listening, and sharing is really important at the moment, and always, but I feel like it's especially now. Yeah, for sure. And I think the information, if you search for it, information is going to be there, or just speak to the people around you, speak to the people at the climbing gyms, and someone's going to know someone, you know, who's going to give you the information that you need. Yeah, definitely. I think going into things with an open mind and willing to listen to people and having your mind change and having a curiosity, I think is really important. Yep. Yeah. For sure. If you're climbing and you're not curious, that's crazy. Imagine looking up at like Taipan and being like, like not curious of being like, what does that feel like? Like I still have, I was speaking to Harry about it yesterday. I'm like, so when are we going to go touch Taipan? You know, when are we just going to have a crack on it and just sort of see? And I don't know. Still don't know. I'm still curious. I mean, it's such an epic wall. Hey, like it's so beautiful and intimidating and like, I mean, the fact it even exists, like, is just mind blowing. Like the fact that it used to be under the ocean and it's like now sticking up out of the ground and we can, you know, go and climb it and, you know, hike over to the top of it and look at it with our eyes and see it is just like, wow, crazy. It's a phenomenal piece. I was hoping to actually, if the weather holds off today, just hike to the base of it and try and get some photos there as well, somewhere around it, even near it, something like this. I don't know. It's very just go look at it again. Just stare at it for a little while. Just go stare at it for a little bit. I feel like there's some places where you could just look at it for what could be perceived as forever, but it feels like such a short period of time. Like time just passes so quickly when you're looking at things like that are just like so encapsulating and so beautiful. It's just like, I'm not done yet. I can look at this forever. And I feel like that's a beautiful piece of rock that and so many spaces around here. It's just like breathtaking. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So much everywhere. Totally. Absolutely. Do you have any aspirations in your climbing? Like just to kind of, you're doing it, you're climbing, but is there the things that you want to do in the hobby sport of climbing? I think there's so many places that I want to go and climb, but for me, climbing, as long as, and I think this is the same for most things that I do, especially when it comes to moving my body, as long as like I am in a space where I'm capable, I can go out there and I can do the thing. That's what I strive for. You know, if I can go out there with friends and I do have the experience where I can take people who are new to climbing out, I can go climbing with people who've been climbing for ages. I think my aspiration is just to like be able to go climbing, you know, and have enough capacity within my body to go and like climb a variety of different things. You know, and I think I've been climbing certain grades for a while and I was like, I'm so happy with this. It's unlocked this amount of climbing for me, and that's beautiful. And I didn't have the biggest desire to like, you know, try and I guess get stronger. But now I'm like, oh, actually, you know, like it'd be cool to, you know, make that space a little bit bigger and start climbing some more different new things. So there is definitely that. But I think at the core of it, as long as I can get out there and I can go climbing with my friends and I can have the knowledge and the technical knowledge to go and do things and access things, is what I want to do, and to be able to be capable enough to also go overseas with that, climb in Squamish, climb, you know, in Greece, or like even like do some cool stuff in Kyrgyzstan and a bit more adventure climbing, I think is like a space that I really want to move into, even combining a bit of mountaineering and ice climbing and all the things that I froth about the outdoors. If I can bring all those things together and continue learning and get access to all these new places, I think that's really what I want to get out of it.
Is there possibilities for like that link up of this exploration expedition that you want to go on with climbing, but also like link it up with your photography and like be that person that goes on like a 2-person push up some big wall somewhere, and you're like the third party kind of with them and taking photos, also doing some of the climbing and working through that as well? I think it'd be so sick.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah? Cool.
Yeah, I think I need to work on, before I do any big walls, I really need to work on my brain.
Yeah.
And my skills.
They'll do the work on your brain.
Yeah, totally. But I think end goal, or like maybe not end goal, but a big goal in my photography is going out on adventures with people and capturing what that adventure looks like for them, and the harshness and the rawness of like going on these expeditions and like really being in the thick of it. And yeah, that'd be so sick. Yeah,
it would be so sick.
Absolutely.
It's funny. Look, we just recently went over to America and going to Yosemite and not climbing there because logistically it just didn't work out for me. Couldn't find pads to climb or boulder, or it was really hard to find people to jump on ropes. And then just like kind of with my thought of like what climb or my relationship with climbing, it had this like cool trajectory of being like, oh, like I don't need to climb to enjoy climbing. Like I can just like look at Midnight Lightning and see these holds and be like, oh wow, I'm still so inspired. Or obviously stand under Al Cup and be like, that's still blows me away. And then I went back to, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, so I can just do this. I don't need to climb to enjoy climbing. And then we went to Smith Rock and I started climbing there. I'm like, you know what? There is something, I really enjoy the climbing part of it. And then coming back home and I'm like, oh, I don't know what I enjoy. Like as soon as I left Smith Rock, I'm like, can't wait to go back to Smith Rock. Just going to go back there. Got back into Australia and I was like, I don't know even if I want to go back to Smith Rock, like coming back to Australia. And there's so many places that I haven't climbed here in Australia. And so many climbs that I haven't like finished off as well. And like, I think those, my own little personal journey is, more satisfying, I think, than going over and climbing back over in Smith. Or even the potential of going back and climbing in Yosemite or bouldering in Bishop again. I don't really know. My relationship with climbing is just like constantly changing into whether it's like spectating, whether it's participating, or whether it's just like observing and being around all the spaces and everything like that as well. Yeah, it's super interesting to feel my brain just being like, oh, this is what it is now. And then you're just in the next part of climbing, you're like, no, this is what it is for me. And you're like, oh, it's just all of it. And I can enjoy every part of climbing, which I really, really freaking enjoyed so much, you know?
Yeah, totally. And it's just like constantly evolving and growing. And I guess that speaks to just us as human beings, right? Like we can change our mind and we can like take a different path and we can do this and we can see these things in different ways and we can wear different hats and different colored glasses and, you know, however you want to metaphorically phrase it. It's
Totally.
like really cool how the more places you go and the more things you experience through life, through, you know, meeting other people or whatever it is, it's like, who knows what's around the corner and who knows how I'm going to see this thing in a year's time. Like there's so much to do and there's so much to experience, and being in those moments is like so important because like things do change and that's okay. And I think like that's really cool to hear that your journey is like oh, and then this, and then this, and then this.
It was so
and it's,
fast paced
so
for me
cool,
as well.
yeah.
I'm like, this is what it is, you know?
Yeah.
And it's still like I haven't got my finger on what it is for me, because it's so I haven't experienced all of climbing before. Like there's so much within itself.
And maybe you'll never put your finger on it. You know,
Yeah,
maybe it'll just be this huge thing that like requires 2 hands, you know?
yeah. Full body experience. 100%.
Totally. No, that's really cool.
Yeah. Is there like a dream shoot for yourself if like your aspirations in climbing is just to be around it and be with the people and see the people do it? Is there a similar aspiration with your photography?
I guess like my aspiration is to like be skilled enough to go with people on amazing adventures and capture that whole experience, like almost what you just said, like how our minds change and we evolve over such a short period of time. If I can capture that and I can share that in a storytelling way from like start to finish of like this, you know, this micro journey that is part of a bigger thing, whether it's like jumping in a car with a crew and then driving somewhere and, you know, going wherever we're going, and then they have this climb or this adventure that they want to do and joining them on that adventure and seeing how they do that adventure and then being a fly on a wall for that, and then also like the post adventure and how that kind of is and like, you know, things like what Jimmy Chin does and I think that's what I really want to be able to do.
I think it'd be really nice, like post every experience. I think the most maybe the most rewarding and the most informative part of an experience is like the integration period as well. Like when you're finally done with the thing and you're sitting with the experience of it, like capturing that I think would be kind of, I don't know how you do capture that in people's faces, but like, yeah, to be able to like not just, have the moment be done. It's just like the post moments of like reliving it and like putting it back into the mind and into the body and remembering what it was like truly like and how you can now further integrate that and use that experience in life and everything like that as well. That's probably like, it'd be really nice to have, it'd be really nice to have someone along that whole journey. Like, I suppose that is what those photographers do, is like from like the conception of the idea,
Totally.
you know, to the very end. It's like this full long period of someone with you and guiding you.
Yeah, like you just saying that, like it would be really interesting to like even be there to capture like someone while they're just getting into, like, let's just use climbing example, like just getting into climbing, see where they're at, capture that for a bit, and then join them on another adventure, and then further down the track join them on another adventure, and like see how people change over time, because like every moment you're going through, you're learning so much, and whether that manifests itself then or whether it manifests itself later, like you're constantly changing and evolving and learning and growing. And I think capturing that pre and post expedition is like, really cool, because we do change so much and learn so much.
Even just that, it would be so cool to have, like you're saying, like someone who's never climbed before, but like they want to get into it and they get really psyched, and have like a 0 to 5 year and like a 5 to 10 year, just a photo of like what that person is, like how they're like, you'd be able to see it in their eyes, like when you can see like a spark and adventure in someone's eyes, and just sort of see what that's done. Yeah, I'm sure my eyes are like,
Yeah.
fully widened.
Popping
now.
out of my brain.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
it's pretty cool. Yeah.
It must be
how
such a
everyone
privilege to
experiences.
capture people's experiences like that.
Yeah, I mean, I hope to, I don't know, do it more. I feel like I'm only just scratching the surface of what I'd really like to do. And like with the support of brands and people that can fund these things, like be cool to kind of integrate that into it as well.
Absolutely.
And I mean, everyone experiences things so differently. And I think the more we can capture of that, the more a picture of the world we can create that is more whole and more relatable and make it more accessible for people. Yeah.
Is there things that we haven't touched on that you'd like to speak about, talk about, or bring up?
I really need to go wee. So
Talk about it.
great. Well, I think I've been holding it this whole time.
you really?
Yeah.
I should have
like-
prefaced that at the start. Yeah, it's not school. You can just get up and go if you need to.
Well, I was like, maybe I can hold it. And then it got like too late. And then, well, it's not too late. but I would love to do that.
Yeah, awesome. Well, yeah, feel free. If we can end it here as well, if you like.
We can also end it here.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
don't mind. However you're feeling about it.
Yeah, I'm totally cool. I'll cut that part out so it doesn't have to be a full 12, unless you want the pee break in. But yeah, it's been awesome. It's been so nice to chat to you and finally get this one in the books that we've been working towards to get in, and finally sit down with you and tell you that. Yeah, what you're doing is incredible. What you're doing is amazing. And I love seeing the trajectory of it, even not knowing you as a person and seeing it. And it's been inspiring for me. So thank you for allowing me and Hayley to come into your house and record this. And yeah, it's been really, really nice.
Well, yeah, thanks for your patience. While I'm like, I'm over here and I'm over here. And then this weekend I was like, I actually double booked myself and I don't know if I can do it, and making it work. And I think what you're doing is awesome, and talking to people and getting people's voices out there, and especially them being people that I know, and people in the Australian climbing community I think that's really beautiful, and I love what you're doing. I'm so psyched to listen to all of them, and thanks for making the space.
No worries at all. I appreciate it. Cool. Thanks everyone for listening, and we'll catch you in that next episode.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw. Thank you.
Basically, rock climbing